Hi, welcome back, competition 9. Right, so in the last video we looked at how to scratch beneath the surface to find out the truth. That what you see at surface level does not necessarily mean that's what's going on, and that you have to actually have a critical or analytical brain and go and do some more research before you jump to conclusions, which is fairly obvious really, but a lot of people jump to conclusions. I have this big thing that one reason that, e-courses and Udemy are on the rise is because where we have so much information, we don't want that much information. We want the answers that we want in a small place. Now, and easy to find and easy to access. So where stuff is available free on Google and on YouTube and all sorts of places, we are maybe lazy or in overwhelm from all that information. And so we want things in one place. And I think this attitude where we just want to ask someone and they give us the answer spills over into our own market research and our own interpretation of what's going on in front of us. And we adopt what could be considered a lazy attitude by jumping to conclusions rather than actually finding out what's going on. So how else can you, apart from gossip and asking potential clients who they've worked with and how they found that and what would they have liked to improved, and looking at social media and what's coming out there, how can you really sort of dig deep to find out what's going on to your advantage? Because all of this stuff about competition isn't to put you in threat, isn't to scare you, isn't to make you curl up in a ball in a corner and cry. It's actually about giving you genuine competitive advantage because you actually understand the marketplace that you're operating in properly, and you understand your place within that marketplace and what's the strength. So we're going on to that in more detail in a different video, but here I'm just going to cover a little bit about where you can find out more information, because information technology has given us an ability to find out research really quickly. We don't have to stand in the street with a clipboard anymore, apart from the fact somebody else does that for us. We can have that very direct approach, but we can also do some scurrying about and some detective work online, which is awesome. So what are good sources of information? Remembering to have that skeptical head on, to look further beyond the headlines. So other good sources of information for you then. You could, and this is a good one, opt in on the email. Now it might be that you have to use a different email address because you don't want to give the game away that you've opted in on a competitor's email. If they're a small competitor and would notice such things, obviously a major player probably wouldn't notice, because the email won't just tell you how well they're doing or not, but it will also give you clues as to their copy, if you've got very similar avatars, their sequence, their build up to their sales, the funnel they use. All that type of thing will become obvious if you actually opt in and read their stuff. And you can make your own judgments as to whether it's effective or not. But remember, those judgments are you, and you may not be your avatar. You might be, but you may not. It's actually much easier to have an avatar that is you than to have a diverse avatar, because it's actually quite hard to understand others and other people's motivations. So when we were looking at the people who come to Profit Ladder as an avatar, which we did in some other videos, and what the sort of common denominator was, what the common thread was, and I came up with this idea that they're black sheep, that my most loyal and biggest fans are considered black sheep within their social circles and their families, which gives you an idea that I attract people who are a bit rebellious and a bit outspoken and a bit opinionated, which is hardly a surprise, is it, considering the stance that I take on things. So if you when I opt into other people's emails, there aren't many that appeal to me that will get me to buy their stuff. But then I'm not necessarily their avatar. They may not be aiming for the black sheep. I know what gets me interested in someone and gets me to buy someone's stuff. And they're really hitting those personal factors with me. I would say the most closely aligned and the person I've probably bought the most stuff from, if not at the highest price, because it's not at the highest price, would be Paul Moore. I feel an affinity to what he says. I like his attitude and his style. He actually manages to swear more than me, which is quite amazing. But there's something there that is black sheepy, rebellious about him. So of course it would appeal to me. Whereas there are other email marketers who just don't hit the mark with me. They just don't. So opt into the email, and if the avatars are aligned, then you will see whether you think they are being successful in attracting that avatar. Other things you can look at is their contacts on LinkedIn and how their LinkedIn is working, or whether they're even using it, and whether they're putting out content on LinkedIn, and whether comments are coming through, and whether they're getting to the influencers on LinkedIn. Their Facebook page, like I say, pinch of salt there a little bit, please. People with Facebook page, everyone's reach is down. You know, you have to pay to play. So we can make less judgment on page likes or even comments on pages now because of that reach issue. But, and we have to take a pinch of salt a little bit about what they're actually saying. But you can have a look at the types of posts they put up and whether that does seem to appeal or get shares with people following their page. Their Twitter, do they get any traction on Twitter whatsoever or not? Do they get any retweets? Do they get people commenting? Is it the same type of people? What type of people seem to be interested in what they're doing? If they're running a Facebook group or they're in other Facebook groups and you're in the same groups, again, what's going on? What's going on? You're looking for weaknesses. You're looking for things they may have missed. I gave this example and I still think it's a classic, and it's to do with avatars. So we have a personal trainer whose avatar is female. Can't remember the age. And he'd done a open-ended questionnaire to find out why they didn't stick to nutrition plans, training plans, etc. And one of the answers he got back was, from several people, was we love food too much. Now, instead of taking that information as an opportunity, and what can he do to enhance his message to people who love food too much, and to make sure his product aligns with that, and that all his communication now is driven at people who love food too much, he went on a little rant about, you know, adding different spices to chicken or something equally as ridiculous in my mind. I looked at that little rant and looked at the thing that he'd found on his research and thought about one of my one-to-one coaching clients who had a very similar avatar, and immediately messaged them and went, I think we've got your tagline. Totally different attitude. I saw opportunity, he saw threat. So do look behind the headlines when you're looking at your competition and look for your competitive advantage. And if you're seeing a weakness, exploit the weakness and make it something that you become strong in, if it's what the clients want. If it's what the clients want and is something they've identified as a weakness in your competitor. Okay, that's it for today. More tomorrow. Bye.